So my name is Sarah Nicole Nadler. I am a business consultant. I'm also the co-founder of The Financial Journey. And I wanted to share our story with you today. About, I'm gonna date myself, over 2 decades ago now, I was just a normal American girl. I grew up in a kind of upper middle class family. And when I was 19 years old, my entire life changed. Up until then I had been a very privileged girl, and I know it. I had a very spoiled childhood, I'm not gonna lie. But when I was 19, my sister, Emily, was diagnosed with cancer. And within 10 months of that, Emily had passed away, my parents divorced. My boyfriend at the time, who I'd been financially supporting, cheated on me, crashed my car while driving drunk, and then ran off, leaving me with a pile of bills that he had helped me stack up. So you could say I knew very little about finance in those days. My family had money, but I never really learned much about how to manage it. So here I was with an apartment I couldn't afford, a bunch of credit card bills, and I was just barely 19. And my parents had divorced, my sister was gone, and then my dog died. So you can imagine how crushed I felt. At that time, I was severely depressed. I had no support system left. My boyfriend went to all of our mutual friends and just trashed me to everybody. So no one was reaching out at that time to help. And so I actually just checked out. I went backpacking through Mexico by myself at 19, just a little 5'2" tall girl walking around Mexico. And but really, I had a great time on that trip, but I was looking for answers to life. And luckily for me, I found them. I joined a church. I was ordained as a minister just after my 21st birthday. And for 10 years, that's what I did. I was a traveling minister. I would say, if I had to put a number to it, I'd probably touch the lives of at least 1 million people between the fundraising I did, the human rights activities, and just my own personal outreach into the community. I was mostly based in Los Angeles at that time, and if there's ever a city of lost souls, it's Los Angeles, and if you're there, you know what I mean. But it was really the most fulfilling thing I could possibly have done. But starting from a girl who grew up with money but never learned how to manage it, and then went into tons of debt and had to be bailed out so I could join my church, then spent 10 years in a church where all of my food, my clothing, everything was paid for by donations. You can see I never really had the opportunity to learn much about money. So when I met Ben and we decided to start a family, the very first thing we did was dig ourselves very deeply into debt, and I had no idea how to escape. And one day I remember I went to Ben, this was after we had moved to Oregon together, and I told him, I'm actually scared. I don't know what to do. We moved up here because we wanted to start a family, and I feel sorry for a child that we could bring into this world because I wouldn't know how to feed them. And here I was, I had gone back to school to become a business consultant, right? And I had student debt and on top of everything else. And here I was making decent money as a business consultant, and I still could barely afford to pay my bills. That just shows you how poor my money management really was, right? And Ben is, I will tell you this, he has the most genius mind. And you give him a problem, he will invent a solution for it. I remember one time I was fiddling around with my lip gloss, right? And you know how, ladies, you know what I'm talking about. You put the lip gloss back in and a little bit always oozes out of the edges whenever you put that stick back into the lip gloss. And I was just so frustrated with this mess all over my purse. 20 minutes later, Ben had invented something to fix my lip gloss. So you get the idea, he's just that inventor mind. So that mind of his went to work on our finances, and he developed this system. We call it the financial grip system because as a 20-year experienced rock climber, that's the way he thinks, you know? Here we were holding on by the tiniest bits of our fingers, clinging to this rock face on the edge of a cliff, about to fall off. That's how it felt about our budgeting and our finances. And he just rigged a rope system and hauled us back to the top of the mountain, you know? And we just dug ourselves out so quickly using this system that, you know, as a business owner, as a business consultant, I then turned around and started teaching this to my clients, just purely to help them in their own financial situations. And then 2020 hit. And you can imagine how many people were reaching out this year for help. So the reason why I'm sharing this story with you is because we don't offer this to you as something that someone else taught us, right? This is something that we used that is continuing to build wealth for us, help us manage our finances, and best of all, it's actually built our marriage more strongly together because neither of us ever has to say no to the other person. And I feel like for me, most people they didn't grow up like I did, right? They didn't grow up having so much money that you could not learn how to use money, right? Most people, you probably know more about finances than I did growing up. But it's not the knowledge that we lack, it's the accountability, right? It's the ability to actually hold yourself to those rules, to set aside funds, to have an emergency reserve, right? To actually have the accountability to do that. And what I love most about this system, I'm not gonna lie, because I am a total shopaholic and I will spend every dollar I make and more either helping someone. I still do a lot of charitable activities every year with my human rights groups. I've built human rights groups in 9 different countries now. And if there's one thing my volunteers in those countries are constantly asking me for, it's more funds, because they're trying to feed their families, right? And I will absolutely spend every dollar I make and more if I didn't have this system. It takes so much of that necessity to have good personal discipline out of the picture. I'm not going to say you don't need personal discipline, because I personally believe that discipline is one of the core values we should all nurture in ourselves. But I will say that those of us like me who have a spending problem, or if you've ever had someone in your life who has experienced and been through what it's like to have a loved one, you know, commit, what is it called? Financial infidelity. This system is going to change your life. And so that is why we do what we do. That is why we built this website. That's why we built this platform, to really help people like you to not have to go through what we did. Not have to hit that point where you feel like you're clinging to the rock face 1,000,000 miles above the ocean floor and you're holding on with your fingernails. I don't want you to experience that. And so I really encourage you to learn this system and learn it and use it well, and reach out to us if you need help. You know, I am still a minister, although I retired, and I think that passion to help people never goes away. So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching this, and I hope we'll see you inside the system soon.